Frankie Cartoscelli, our guy from SactownSports.com. He bailed on me yesterday. He was supposed to be in studio yesterday. He bailed.
He didn't want to be here when I'm not around. I get it.
I didn't want to be a part of the Bruno Mars conversation. I didn't want to get you more angry.
That was a damn good conversation.
I was on the Slack chat. Maybe we don't have time for it right now. Can you tell me what was good? Because I just saw a lot of chatter about Bruno Mars yesterday while I was sitting home sick.
Watkins said Bruno Mars isn't good, pretty much.
Isn't good?
Yeah, is not good.
Wow.
Is not
He's okay.
Good.
He's okay.
We're not going to do this,
Wow,
Frankie.
Just okay.
Not going to do this right now, Frankie. What are you doing?
Okay.
We actually had more people agree with Chris than I thought we would, including Doug Christie.
I mean,
DC was not a big Bruno Mars guy.
You might be a little too high.
Listen, I'm not.
Just a little.
I don't have Bruno Mars pajamas. I just think he's a really good musician.
My mom loves Bruno Mars, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. My mom loves Bruno Mars, and that's
Frankie, you're like 15.
That's enough.
You're 15. You look 12. Okay, so
well,
of course your mother loves Bruno Mars. She's like 40. What are we doing here? Anyway, let's get
Frankie's mom's a millennial, so
she'd love that.
Let's get to the Kings. Frankie, of course, on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Frankie, I saw you tweet about De'Aaron Fox earlier today. You spoke with the media. I was talking about this with Chris yesterday. Watching him on Wednesday night, it really stood out to me that he didn't have his same explosion, his same explosiveness, and he might have given us a couple of reasons why that is. What do you have to say today?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely didn't seem like he was hitting the gas as much as he usually does, and we've seen him use his speed, and that's been his greatest tool over the course of his career, and this year he's really been using that speed. The Kings are a top 3 pace team, and he's been the face of that, but has not looked like himself, and he said today that he's been dealing with a little bit of just general soreness that you deal with over the course of a season, and so he also was going through a little bit of a bug. There's a little bit of a sickness that's kind of bitten the team. Trey Lyles missed a couple of games there with the bug, and it's going around just in general. I mean, it's something that is affecting. I mean, Ronnie was out the other day. I have been out for a couple of days. It's affecting a lot of people, and in the tweet that I put out, saying that De'Aaron was feeling under the weather, there was countless responses of people saying that they're going through something. So it's not just the basketball side of things; it's the person side of things, and he's dealing with some of these issues that we all deal with on a day-to-day basis. But it seemed like he was feeling better today. He went through a full practice and was the last one on the floor, getting shots up with assistant coach Luke Laux, and seems like he's feeling a lot better after a couple of rough days there.
There's usually not just one reason for anything, Frankie, and you're right. It's not all basketball stuff. It's his health that's affected him a little bit. But there's been some basketball stuff, too, that's led to De'Aaron Fox not putting up the numbers we saw earlier in the season. I heard Mike Brown the other day saying he needs to do a better job, a more concerted effort of calling plays for De'Aaron Fox in certain situations.
Yeah, I mean, and when you're on a team that's playing as well as the Kings, it's easy to, which it's crazy to even say that, it's easy for De'Aaron Fox to almost take a back seat at times. And when you have players like off the bench, you're seeing what Malik Monk has been doing, and you're seeing what Terrence Davis has been doing. De'Aaron doesn't really need to be that guy that's coming out and scoring nearly 30 points a game like we saw early in the season. And the Kings have been playing solid basketball even during the course of this 1-3 stretch, even though they haven't showed up in the win column. And you have to kind of wonder if De'Aaron was feeling a little healthier. And of course, this is a what if, but if De'Aaron's 100% healthy, do the Kings lose those 3 games in a row? I'd like to think probably not. They were really in that Phoenix Suns game, and if you'd like to think if you have a fully healthy De'Aaron Fox who's being aggressive and is getting more play calls, that the Kings come out on top in that game. Again, they lose by 5 points, so it's easy for that to be lost in the fold this season because of how deep the Kings are. But you need Fox playing at the top of his game, and you have to hope that that'll happen this weekend in the back-to-back.
Frankie Cartoscelli with us here, Cattles and Rami, Sactown Sports. Frankie, when you look at the big picture, I love to ask this question after like 10-game increments, right? You look at snapshots throughout the year. Your overall thoughts on this team now that we're 20 games in?
I mean, I'm feeling very confident in the fact that they come out of this recent stretch and they lost those games against Phoenix and Boston, but aside from the ugly ending to the Boston game, they have been in each of these games they have played, and it has me optimistic because the defense is trending upwards. They're slowly climbing up that pole as far as the defensive rating. They're 22nd in the NBA now, and like you said earlier in the show, Nick, they're They're about 15th, 16th in the league over the past 10 games. So that to me has me feeling very optimistic that as good as the Kings have been playing, and they have a number 2 offense in the NBA right now, they could even have some more room for growth if they can pick things up on that end of the floor. And that's very possible because Mike Brown is a coach who, everywhere that he has gone, those teams that he's been a part of, whether it's head coaching or assistant coaching, he was the head of the Golden State Warriors defense a year ago, the number 1 defense in the NBA. If wherever he goes, the successful defense follows. And the Kings are finally starting to show some promise on that side of things after looking pretty horrible to start the season. As we know, the Kings have looked on the defensive end over the past couple of years, but the fact that things are slowly starting to kind of trend upward has me feeling pretty optimistic. But if you'd have told me opening night Kings are going to have a winning record on the 20 game mark, I'm feeling pretty good, and that's how I feel today.
The conversation still being had a lot of places are the Kings for real? How good is this Kings team? And it seems to always fall back to or settle back on, well, yeah, they'll be in the play-in picture. At what point do we go, no, this is a team that can be in the playoff picture? Is it too early to say that right now, Frankie?
In my opinion, I thought a week or two ago it was, and as the season goes on, like you guys said, we're a quarter of the way through the season. I think we're at the point now where that deserves to be a conversation that is had, and there's no clear answer right now, but the fact that it's even a conversation is crazy to me, that we're sitting here, we're getting into holiday season and the Kings we're talking about them, forget the play-in, but maybe them first into the first round there, not even having to worry about the play-in. So it's all going to come down to health. If this team can stay healthy, and there's going to be some time this season, I'm sure, where the Kings have to go through some adversity. But when you have a bench that's playing as well as they have right now, they have a top 5 scoring bench in the NBA. I think they're second in the league right now in points per game off the bench. That is huge to me. That's the difference maker. If the Kings were to lose De'Aaron Fox or Domantas Sabonis, knock on wood, they have guys that can come in and hopefully plug those holes, and that's the difference maker to me. So I think it's a conversation that can be had right now, and that itself is a win, but a long way to go.
Frankie, last question for you today. I want to ask you about a guy that not a ton of people are talking about, but Chimezie Metu. Is he one of the unsung heroes of this early season, being able to play small ball 5?
Yeah. It speaks to the growth that he's showing as a player and the work that he's putting in with the coaching staff. I mean, he spent the last couple of seasons not really playing that center role like he did during his first year or two with the Spurs. And I think the fact that you have a guy in Chimezie who has that athleticism, and we've been seeing he has at least 1 or 2 posters every game. The fact that you have a lob threat and you have someone that has the ability to rebound more better than he has for his career, and that's something he showed last game. He was huge on the offensive glass last game to really kind of get that game separated early. And that to me is a weapon the Kings have. They have somebody who has showed promise and is only 25 years old, and someone that can hopefully grow into that role. But I think that he's definitely a story to keep an eye on, because as we've seen, Rashawn Holmes is someone who is not in the rotation. I'm not sure if he'll be in the rotation again anytime soon. The Kings, I would imagine, are looking around the league to see if they can find a new home for Rashawn. But having Chimezie Metu as a guy off the bench that can provide you with that athletic punch, someone who can be a rim runner, and someone who can hopefully improve a little bit on that defensive end of things, because the Kings, as we know, are not a rim protecting team. Hopefully he can harness that athleticism into becoming that. So definitely a feel-good story so far.
Thanks, Frankie. Have a good weekend, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good weekend, guys. Make sure you listen to that Bruno Mars this weekend.
Thanks, Frankie.
I don't like it.